Well, I've been out here for about half an hour. Up there's an old railroad line. I came down off of where the tracks were to see what it was like down here, and I've just been walking, well, the pit off the tracks. It's definitely terrible down here, land terrain wise, but and it's not even that far. It's just built up that much, but I noticed there were dig outs down here, and you know, when they were building these lines in the 1800s, they would come down off the edges to pull out material to build it up to grade. It's pretty high up. It's not far, but it's pretty high up. So that's it. Walking around, looking, swinging. I figured we needed a freestyle day. Not looking for old home sites, cellar holes, or anything specific. Quiet so far. Yeah, this has definitely all been moved and shifted. Lots of pits and lumps. And definitely signs of logging. Well, I'm going to move ahead forward, I get as far as I can, and then get just a little bit closer to the tracks to swing. Well, that's not good. Can you hear the water? All water. So, we're not going any further that way. But the land just kept tossing me this way, and oddly enough, I saw relatively fresh, maybe in the last week, somebody was in here with a dirt bike, but there was only one patch where I could see tracks, and I don't know where they were going to or from, but obviously it's accessible from somewhere. Okay. I really enjoy these kinds of days. Yeah, no doubt. Well, the kid on the dirt bike definitely didn't keep going this way. Unless he just popped into the woods from the other side, from where I'm at. Turned around, but still, something we don't see too much out in the woods generally. Oddly enough. Well, I think I'm walking logging ruts at this point, which is good. Whoa. Slick log. I have a feeling this is taking me away. It's following the water, I can hear that, certainly. But that's the side that should have the rail bed. Well, this ought to be fun to see where I pop out, if I do. Oh, okay, maybe. I think I can see wall, which is running along the tracks, or it's just a farm wall. Wow, that must have really bellowed out, because it took quite a bit of time to get back around to here, if that's where I'm thinking we are. Well, good, but this is not the wall. That's the wall. Rail line up there, but this is cool. So that's the one they put in near the tracks, and this is an old farm one that just starts to widen and split, heading actually in the direction we just came out of, but I never saw any of that. So we're definitely seeing where they laid the line in right through Old Colonial Farm. That's cool. Well, there we go. Unlike the last couple of rail walks, we saw no residuals or debris. It actually looks like there's quite a bit of it right off the edge. And I am curious about the possibility of there being any date nails in these ties. If you're unfamiliar with date nails, I think like in the early 1900s, they would replace ties and they would put these dated nails in them. So it would say 32 or 42, so they could see how they held up. But if these are the original 1800s ties, there's not going to be any in there. I'm not hearing any. People have asked many times in the past, do you ever detect the old lines? Not usually, because it sounds just like this everywhere. 80, 78. Doesn't matter how far you walk, it's all going to sound like that. That's why I'm curious about what's off the edges. This one's off the edge. Let's just see. Whoa, as the camera disappears down the hill. Yeah, just quickly looking. Some lead, that'll sound good. And that's why it sounded wonderful. Washer excitement. We picked it out. Nice, that's usable. Electrical stuff. Well, here's a heaping mass of them. Except they're different. See how long that is? There's a bunch of long ones, and it actually looks like, sorry, it has asphalt on it. Wonder if they pulled them from a bridge nearby and just dumped them with the rest of it. Yeah, usually the date nails are pretty visible. I'm not seeing anything. Or they've all been pulled by collectors. Kind of stuck in a tube here where they blasted out for the tracks. And what I kind of hope and look to find is, years ago, off one of the rail lines, I found a dump from the train. It was definitely late 1800s, and there were some cool things in there, and it was just in an odd spot, because you never know. Or an old place where people were hanging out. Kids dropping coins or something. Alright, looks like it's clearing up. Still got a bit of tube here though. Surface find. So I walked down the tracks, or the bed, until I found this little offshoot trail where they were dumping all the stuff that they were removing, and all the granite, and spotted that. So that's where I am. I'm off the tracks a bit. There's a little trail. Well, let's see. We probably already know what it is. There he is. Shotgun Willie. It's kind of nice in here, and I can hear the next crossroad maybe a half a mile away. So again, my thoughts on people coming out here and hanging out or doing other things, who knows. Well, definitely a hangout spot. It's everywhere. Oh, it's next to a can, but it says 93, I think. Oh, because it's another can. Wow. Well, we'll see if we can pick out a signal that's not crazy. Looks like lead tubing. These signals are out of control. Non-stop and all crazy sounding. Well, this is pretty cool. I've seen some utility poles along the edges, but not like this, where it's completely hollowed out. So, you know, the treated surface must have kept that intact. That's different, huh? Yeah, it's highly unlikely I'm gonna pull anything out of this. It's just non-stop. Oh, well, that would make some noise. Fencing, baling wire, probably fencing. We definitely want to look in there. Nice piece of work. Love seeing this stuff. Wow, they really moved some material to build this up and fill it in. That's substantial, all right. Yeah, see, here's an exposed section showing us what's in the ground. Barbed wire. Spikes. This stuff, it's almost like potash. At least that's what it sounds like. All kinds of metal. That's actually an old top. Melted. So that's why I generally don't detect tracks. But it was all about the adventure and explore today. Wow. Oh, look at that. Part of an insulator. So that's it. It was still 2.5 hours and about 3 miles. Always cool to look around. All right, I've got about 100 feet to walk out. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.